Every car enthusiast loves adding power to their car. It is the most exhilarating and fun thing that you can do as a car enthusiast. But what's that power mean if you're getting thrown around in your seat like a rag doll? The shifter that you have is sloppy and gross. Maybe the wheels and tires don't put that power down like you would like them to, or maybe even the suspension sucks. All that power means nothing if the driver mods that you have in place don't make you feel good while driving your car. And that's why today we are installing Z1 Motorsports' brand new short shifter kit for the Z and G chassis. I picked up this short shifter kit a couple of months ago and we're just now getting to it. Essentially, guys, if you guys don't already know, my name is Chase Monson and this is my YouTube channel where all we do is work on cars and do car-related stuff. I'm sure you've seen a lot of my YouTube shorts, but we also post full-length YouTube videos as well, and today we've got a banger of an install going on today, and I actually think this might be the very first install of the Z1 Motorsports short shifter kit. And in fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that crown and enjoy it. So let's get right into the video. We're gonna pull the Z out, take it for a quick little drive. I'm gonna show you the before with the stock shifter, and then we're gonna hop into it, get the car in the air, and start installing that short shifter right now. Let's get into it. Now with anything like this, we've got to get the measuring tape out to see how much length we're losing off of our throw, which in this case is actually a good thing for once. So we've got the measuring tape out. I'm going to put you on the tripod and show you the before throw of the OEM Nissan shifter. All right, everybody, so I've got a zip tie tied off to the front side of the shifter here to mark neutral. We're sitting in neutral right here, and essentially we're at about 4.5 inches sitting in neutral. We're gonna take it, move up to first gear, looking at about 3.5 inches there, so only about an inch worth of travel, coming back to neutral, going into second gear, looking at about 5.5 inches. So really we've got a total gap of about 2 inches from first to second gear. So 3.5 to 5.5, about 2 inches. Same thing with second to third and fifth to sixth. All right, so 2 inches, 33% of that should be cut off by this short throw shifter from Z1 Motorsports. Let's see how we do. Now that we've got our measurements, we can finally start disassembling this piece here. We've got to take apart the inside of the car, get up underneath it, get rid of that retainer bolt and things like that. So we're gonna get to work here. We're gonna get to taking apart the Z. Let's see what we can get into. Welcome everybody to the very first voiceover of the Chase Monson YouTube channel. What we're doing here is taking off the shifter nut of the shift knob, use a towel and a wrench, don't want to mess up the threads, and now we're going to pull on the very front part of that trim piece for the shifter. It's not held in by anything, that's probably why it rattles around like the dirty Nissan that it is. That's going to expose 4 bolts that you see me undoing here. At the front of that metal trim piece and the rubber shifter boot are arrows that need to be pointed at the front of the vehicle when they're reinstalled. I'll point at them here in a moment, but essentially Nikon can't autofocus to save its life, so I just point at blurry blank space, and you're just gonna have to deal with it for a little while. Once we get that first rubber boot off, it's going to expose yet another rubber boot here, which underneath it are 3 more bolts. And here in a moment, there's going to be a quick intervention from me to talk about the simplicities of reverse lockouts. One of my favorite things about cars is how simplistic some of these systems are on the car. Something as simple as like the reverse lockout, you would think it would be kind of complex and maybe even involve some electronics. Incorrect. It's quite literally on this side, just this bump right here in this tab that keeps you from going into reverse. You go over here to 6, boom, you're good to go, right? Push down, now we're in reverse. I absolutely love just how simple something like that is. I realize that may be silly, but I think it's hilarious that it's like, okay, How do we keep people from accidentally going into reverse when they're going into 6th gear? Let's just put a hunk of metal in the way, and there's no way they're gonna get into 6th gear. I think that's really cool. All right, so now that I'm done rambling, we can actually get back to work. Pop all 3 of those nuts loose, and essentially I like to take them off in whatever order. I just like to crack them all. That way there's no added pressure anywhere else on those threads or anything like that. I know it's silly, but makes sense in my head. Then that reverse lockout plate just pops right off. And then you're going to see me fumble with the shifter for a little bit to see if I actually have to get under the car and get that retainer bolt off. Turns out you do, which is my least favorite thing in the world. Now it's time to get underneath the car and take out the retaining bolt holding in this shifter that's underneath here. All right, everybody, I've got to get right up there, rip off this boot here, and there it is. So I'm gonna get my big hands in that small little area and hope to get that thing out, that nut, that bolt. I also was supposed to replace this thing here. I even bought the part, but that looks like an absolute pain in the ass, and truthfully it looks like it's doing its job just fine, so we're gonna leave it in there. All right, so we need to get that red bolt out of that position as quickly as possible because I hate being underneath a vehicle on jack stands. So get your 12 millimeter wrench up there and just start going to town, loosening it up. Here in a second, I'm gonna get my hands in there and also start loosening it up. I couldn't get my automatic wrench up in there because, well, obviously it would not fit. But, you know, get to work out your hand muscles a little bit, and yeah, then we're done. All right, we got that bolt out, and I'm sure that camera angle was incredible, but the best part about it is now our shifter assembly is out and ready to go. Something I actually just realized is that we have not even taken a look at the new Z1 Motorsports short shifter kit. Now, obviously, I'm glad we've got the old one out, that way we can compare and contrast it. First things first, it comes with all the hardware here. We've got 3 bolts. They're actually longer than the OEM ones because of these spacers here. We're going to talk about them here in a second. And then here is the creme de la creme, the piece de resistance, the brand new Z1 Motorsports CNC'd aluminum. I think it's CNC'd aluminum, not quite sure. Don't quote me on it. But essentially, this is a beautiful piece of hardware here, and obviously, as you can see, very different, right? If you're looking at it, you're like, wait, this is a short shifter, why is it longer? Now, obviously, I know, I don't know exactly the math behind it all, but I know that short shifter kits do not mean that the shifter is actually shorter. It actually just means that the fulcrum point or the pivot point is actually in a different location to where it actually makes the pivot point shorter for each shift, making them crisper and all that stuff. Now, obviously, this is going to add some weight here because of this weight up here, but it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of hardware, and I'm ready to get it assembled. All right, so we are going to get this new mount in there. That is the piece. Spot on perfect. Now we've got to get it into this piece like this. First off, we'll take that zip tie off. But secondly, let's get that white lithium grease for this. Okay, so essentially all we want to do is apply all the grease to essentially anything that's going to be touched by metal on plastic, essentially. So inside here on the grooves, inside here on the grooves and all of that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here, is just essentially spread a generous amount of grease on each one. We can always take grease away, but we cannot add it back. So I'm gonna add a little bit. This is why I'm wearing gloves, and we're just gonna kind of get that grease all up in there on the touch points and things like that. And then we'll wipe away what needs to be wiped away, because I think I put way too much grease in there. That looks horrible. And yeah, we'll do that now. All right, let's clip this zip tie. Make sure that this stays together, and then rubber part goes up. Okay, and essentially I am just going to put a rag down over this table here and press down on this. Just like that. and we're good to go. All right, so now we're going to be putting the spacers in. That circular one, you just drop it right in there and put the spring right on top. With this top plate here, it's exactly as it sounds. It's just another spacer here that I really don't exactly know what the spacers are for. My idea is that because the new short shifter from Z1 Motorsports is physically longer than the OEM shifter, they have to compensate for that. I'm sure there's some science behind it. I don't know what that science is, but I could reach out to them if you guys are interested. Then you're going to take the OEM top plate with that lockout bracket there and just kind of loosely screw it all in, keep everything nice and tight together. That way we can get back underneath the car, put that retainer bolt back in there, and call it a day. And so right now we're kind of just fumbling around with this and making sure that everything is tightened down enough so that when we get underneath the car, nothing changes. Since the short throw shifter from Z1 is actually much girthier in that center weight area, these rubber boots aren't going to fit like they did with the OEM one. So instead of forcing that rubber over the top of it, which you cannot do anyways, we're just going to cut off that little top nipple thing with the razor blade, fit it over the top of it, and secure all these bolts back down. What I just did there was show you the front arrows pointing toward the front of the vehicle. If you were paying attention, we talked about this at the beginning of the video, and here it is once again, we're talking about it. So we're just going to hand tighten all these bolts back down and snug them down and essentially put all the trim back on and really call it a day. This install is pretty easy and straightforward. I always like Z1 Motorsports because they've got a PDF download with all of the instructions that you can follow, and it gives you step-by-step instructions that'll show you exactly what to do. Okay, so now the actual most important part of the car is, does the shifter feel good? If it doesn't feel good, we did this all for nothing. It's a Z1 Motorsports product. I'm confident in it. I know that it is going to do exactly what they say. I trust them. Now, this is why we also test things, just to see, right? So let's put the car into gear and see how far we make it. Okay, we're in first gear. Jesus Christ, the camera's falling around. All right, we're in first gear. Let's go first to second. Wow, that felt really short. I almost didn't think it was in gear. Okay, at a full stop. Okay, this is the best we've got right now. Hopefully this works. First gear, it all feels very short. I know when I talked about it earlier, it may not have seemed like it felt short. I was almost a little underwhelmed when we measured, but driving the car and measuring it with a measuring tape are two different things. It's so short and precise. I know exactly what gear we're going into. Sometimes I don't think it's in gear, but I know it's in there. It's gonna take some time because it is strange having it have such a short throw. This is a really good feeling shifter. I'm very impressed with this. All right, started in second. We got a Nissan Murano in front of us. It's probably not gonna go above the speed limit, so that's unfortunate. Check back in a second. Downshifts also feel great. Just put it down into second, making a right turn. We're gonna go 2, 3, 4, hopefully. Once we get around this corner. 2, oh Jesus, 4. It's such a short throw. It feels really, really good. I'm impressed. Well done, Z1 Motorsports. Well done. Okay, final thoughts after the first drive, and I'm sorry that was a little chaotic there. Still working on a good, camera setup for inside the car. Thinking I'm gonna go GoPro, but regardless. Final thoughts on the Z1 Motorsports short throw shifter for the 350Z, specifically my 350Z Nismo. It's incredible, right? Install, super, super easy, right? It's different from every other standard short throw shifter kit out there. You get everything you need, and they thought of everything as well. It came with extra spacers, and I mean, it comes with everything. It comes with extra screws because the spacers add a bunch of length that the screws need. And so they obviously engineered it in a way to work for this platform, where I think a lot of manufacturers build their shifter kits just to make it shorter, right? A quick little install, boom, boom, bang, done. This short throw shifter had a few extra steps, but to me, drastically made an improvement in the car. The throw from first to second, third to fourth is really the funnest part of the car. And on the highway, it's great too. I am absolutely over the moon about this product, and excited to, I think I'm the first one on YouTube to install and review this product. Now there's gonna be a long-term review coming here in probably the next couple of months, just to see how I like it now that I've lived with it for a couple of months. But overall, Z1 Motorsports has knocked it out of the park once again with this, you know, short throw shifter kit. And I think it's really honestly different from any other short throw shifter kit. And honestly, the price is the exact same. I got a bunch of maintenance pieces with it as well to kind of just spruce up the things that are with the shifter. And it was about $250 to my front door, which is always nice. Anytime I can spend under $1,000 on car parts that make a big difference like this, I'm excited about. So guys, with that being said, I'm gonna end it here and call it a day. I am sweating. Pray for all of your friends down in the South. It is super hot, and anybody who's working in a garage on their cars is suffering right now. So pray for me, pray for them. Do what you gotta do. I appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget to support it down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things if that's something you're into, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.